Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You see the moniker and you see the thumbnail, right? The thumbnail is about the Republican Party and what Donald Trump has done to you all's Republican Party. Because I don't understand well, I do understand what's going on. Your president never really cared for the Republican Party. He really only prepared himself to get rich with the Republican Party. I'm 60 years old, and I've watched American politics for over 4 decades, right? I've seen Democrats fail working people, broken promises on health care, wages that don't go upward, endless wars that drain our treasury. I've seen Republican Party do the same thing. Tax cuts, turning their back on the middle class, pretending to care about family values while chasing corporate money. I've watched the corruption, scandals, cover up, lies that led us into these wars, and politicians on both sides getting rich while the rest of us struggle. So my take on the Republican Party tonight isn't coming from some kind of naive kid who just discovered politics on TikTok. This is coming from somebody who's been paying attention since Reagan was in office. I remember the Cold War. I remember when it ended. I remember the contract with America. I remember post 9/11. I remember where I was when the planes hit the buildings, Twin Towers. I was asleep off a 12-hour shift. I remember Watergate documentaries playing for hours on TV, and Donald Trump stands alone. This man doesn't even pretend to care about anything beyond himself anymore. And I think every honest Republican in America needs to hear this from somebody outside of their political bubble. Donald Trump never loved the Republican Party. He used the Republican Party. There's a difference. This man was a Democrat when it benefited him. Remember that. He was independent when it benefited him. He was Republican when it benefited him. There's no deep-rooted conservative ideology with Donald Trump. No consistent philosophy. No lifelong devotion to Republican values. The only thing Donald Trump has consistently believed in is Donald Trump. That's it. And over these last 2 years specifically, through this campaign, through the primaries, through this second term, he has exposed something many Republicans did not want to admit. This movement stopped being about conservatism long time ago. It became about loyalty to that man. And if you don't worship at the altar of Donald Trump, you become disposable. Let me play this first clip.
In Louisiana's Senate primary, President Trump is already using the race to settle an old score. Trump took to Truth Social earlier to attack incumbent GOP Senator Bill Cassidy, who voted to convict Trump after the January 6th insurrection, calling him, quote, a disloyal disaster and a sleazebag, terrible guy who is bad for Louisiana. Trump.
Do you notice how long it took Donald Trump to get to Cassidy? Do you know? Didn't you just hear what he said? He said Bill Cassidy voted against him in the January 6th insurrection deal. It took Donald Trump all these years, as petty as he is, to get to this Bill Cassidy, to oust Bill Cassidy, because Bill Cassidy had just become a senator when the January 6th happened, and he voted against Donald Trump. It took him all these years to try to destroy Bill Cassidy. Wait until Bill Cassidy is up for re-election, and then you run another Republican. Even though Bill Cassidy has voted for you and all of your policies all this time, Donald Trump still held that grudge against Cassidy and ran somebody to oust Cassidy. This is what was happening. Listen.
Also endorsed Cassidy's Republican primary opponent, Congresswoman Julia Letlow. And now the race is being seen as a test of Trump's power and Cassidy's survival. Professor Eddie Glaude is still with us. So as we await the results tonight, Professor Glaude, what could tonight's outcome tell us about either Donald Trump's rise in terms of his political power or the strength that he still has, or whether it could be a bellwether for his decline?
My gut instinct tells me that it's going to be a sense, give us a sense of the ongoing strength of Donald Trump's pull among his base. We saw what happened in Indiana. I think we're going to see a repeat of it in Louisiana. If anything, it's going to be even worse, I think, in terms of the vote in this sense. For Trump, this is what he does. This is the cudgel that he holds over the Republican Party, and folks have to either be courageous and stand on the potential consequences of their actions, or they're going to be cowardly and just cower.
So look at that. That is not party leadership. That is a man emotionally punishing people who refuse to submit to him personally. And that should terrify conservatives, because political parties are supposed to outlive the individuals. But Trump turned the Republican Party into a personal empire built around his white grievance, his revenge, his money, and his ego. And the saddest part is millions of ordinary conservatives handed their movement. You all handed your political party over to a man who has absolutely no intention of protecting it once he's done using it. He's burning every bridge on the way out the door. He was never a true conservative. He never has been. Let's stop pretending like this is something new. Okay? Let's stop pretending like this is something new. He was never a true conservative. Donald Trump has never behaved like a traditional conservative. Traditional conservatives used to talk about personal responsibility, moral behavior, family values, fiscal responsibility, strong institutions, law and order, respect for the Constitution. Lord have mercy. Trump bulldozed through almost all of that. He has smashed through all of that. Housing discrimination lawsuits, the Central Park Five, birtherism, mocking disabled reporters, insulting Gold Star families, bragging about grabbing women, 6 bankruptcies while calling himself a genius businessman. This behavior did not suddenly appear in politics. This is who he's always been. Money did not create this. Power did not create this. And now Republicans have spent almost a decade twisting themselves into knots, defending behavior that would have destroyed any other politician. The party became about personal loyalty. This is where things became dangerous. Trump redefined loyalty inside of the Republican Party. It used to be, are you loyal to conservative principles? Now it's, are you loyal to Donald Trump? That is a poisonous shift. Republicans stopped asking what's best for our country, and they started asking, will Trump do to me? What will he do to me if I disagree with him? What are my chances of staying a Republican in this primary or whatever if I go against Trump? Imagine sitting in Congress knowing one social media post from Donald Trump could politically destroy your career overnight. That is what the Republicans are in the Congress right now afraid of. They're afraid of Donald Trump. They're not loyal to him. He's not loyal to them. This is fear politics. Fear politics. Let me show you the second video. Uno momento, uno momento. Here's the second video I have.
Pedro, good evening. During the 90-minute speech, former President Trump covered a lot of ground, calling his former political ally, Senator Mitch McConnell, a political hack, taking jabs at about a dozen others he sees as adversaries, and absolving himself of responsibility for the events of January 6th.
Would anybody like me to run for president?
Friday afternoon, former President Trump made his first public response to the January 6th committee hearings, addressing evangelical groups in Nashville's Road to Majority conference.
Very vicious people, just like crazy Liz Cheney removed the part of my quote where I urged people to peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard.
He blasted various lawmakers and witnesses, including his former attorney general, who testified that Trump had become detached from reality.
Bill Barr, if he had courage, he would have done something about it. I suggested it. But he was so afraid of being impeached, he didn't want to do anything. How do you not get impeached? Don't do anything.
And contrary to White House staffer testimony that Trump called his Vice President Mike Pence names during a heated January 6th call,
either he called him a wimp.
Trump denied that.
But I never called Mike Pence a wimp. I never called him a wimp. Mike Pence had a chance to be great. He had a chance to be, frankly, historic. But Mike did not have the courage to act.
We're going to drag through the streets.
The former president also minimized the Capitol riots, saying that rioters didn't have guns. He called for Republicans to subpoena January 6th committee Vice Chair Liz Cheney and Speaker Pelosi.
But as you know, Nancy Pelosi is in charge of security of the Capitol, along with the mayor of Washington, D.C. And they turned it down. They didn't want it.
Trump said he would potentially pardon the rioters.
And if I become president someday, if I decide to do it, I will be looking at them very, very seriously for pardons.
So Mike Pence didn't have the courage. Mike Pence couldn't do what President Trump wanted him to do. He couldn't do what he wanted him to do. Pence was defending the constitutional procedures. Mike Pence couldn't do what Donald Trump wanted him to do. Think about how insane that moment was historically. A sitting U.S. president publicly turning on his own vice president because the vice president refused to violate the constitutional procedure. And I understand some of you goofies out there are going to be like, no, Mike Pence should have did it. It was against our Constitution to do what Donald Trump was expecting Mike Pence to do. That should have been a 5-star alarm for all conservatives. But instead, fear took over y'all's party. It took over the Republican Party. And we've seen the same pattern repeat itself over and over again. McCain criticizing Romney, Cheney, Kinzinger, Cassidy, Massie. Anybody who shows independence becomes the enemy to this president. Okay? The moment Massie changed everything. Thomas Massie is one of the most important examples in this entire story of Donald Trump. Because Massie was not some liberal Republican. Massie was one of the most ideologically conservative members of Congress. Small government, anti-spending, libertarian leaning, transparency focused. But because he dared to show independence, Trump targeted him too. That should have shattered the illusion for any of you Republicans. Because once even ideological, he's a purist. That's what it's called. A purist becomes disposable. The minute that person becomes disposable in the Republican Party, you have to realize this was never about conservatism. Not for y'all. It was about obedience. It's about the Republican obedience to Donald Trump, to a person that's not even loyal to you. Let me show this Massie. Let me show this Massie video. I swear to God, some Republicans, y'all need to be ashamed to call yourself. No, you need to be ashamed to call yourself Republicans. I swear. Ashamed. Call yourself Republicans. Y'all gonna talk? Because Massie is known as a libertarian. He said, Massie responded to the AI generated video put out by a group called MAGA in Kentucky in support of somebody else. MAGA went and supported somebody else. When it supported somebody else, when that was your best shot for a true conservative, instead of a conservative that's loyal to Donald Trump. They ousted him. Thomas Massie and his feud with Donald Trump. That right there is the entire thesis of this video. This right here. This is the entire thesis of this video. The populist movement devoured one of its own ideological purists, Thomas Massie. Why? Because loyalty mattered more than you all's principles. Loyalty means more than your principles. So when I hear a Republican or a MAGA person talking about, we believe in free government, we believe in a woman is a woman, we believe in this. No, I don't fucking believe a thing you all say, because you don't stand on jack shit. You don't stand on jack shit. If you could get rid of a person like Massie and Cassidy, Bill Cassidy, y'all don't believe in jack shit. What you believe in is being on your knees for Donald Trump. Because your loyalty for Donald Trump matters more than your principles. You don't have any principles. That's not conservatism. That is personality politics. You care more about a politician. You care more about Donald Trump than you do about helping your country move forward. How does he have such a ranking of 20% that still support him? Because you're loyalty to a man. You're loyal to a man, not the Constitution. You're not loyal to the Constitution. So Donald Trump doesn't care about Republican principles. He's never cared about Republican principles. Trump has contradicted traditional Republican principles on almost everything. Fiscal responsibility, conservatism. The debt exploded out of control, twice as big as Biden's. Check it out. Read the numbers. His deficit, the debt that he has incurred on our country is twice as big as Biden's. Small government, really? Not when the executive power benefits him. Not when it benefits him. Free markets, not when tariffs make him look tough on TV. Law and order, only when it applies to political enemies. And states' rights, only when it's convenient. Strong institutions, only when they praise him. Meanwhile, the ordinary Americans are struggling. Housing, insurance, food, retirement, healthcare. But political oxygen keeps getting sucked into Trump's centered drama every day. I told you all, if you all had been on my channel the last couple of months, you would have heard me say, it's always drama with this president. Just like a toxic girlfriend or a toxic boyfriend, this is what Donald Trump is. And he has no loyalty to the Republican Party. We've seen that over the last couple of months. No new wars. I'm not going to do this. He did it. I'm suing my own people that I'm president of. I'm suing them. Yes. I'm taking money from the IRS. Yes. Where's the loyalty? Every day Oxygen is sucked out of the room because of this president. And people are exhausted. People keep wondering, oh, President Trump must be doing good. He's doing good. No, he's not doing good. No, he's not doing good. Even conservatives are exhausted from what this president has done. Working people are hurt by these tariffs. This was the beginning. The tariffs were the beginning. Farmers and small businesses were extraordinarily hurt by these tariffs. And this is the heartbreaking part. This is the cold-blooded part, y'all. The very people who thought they were electing a fighter for the working Americans are the ones who are absorbing the consequences. Y'all remember when Donald Trump gave $20 billion to, what is it? Brazil? No, not Brazil, but I forgot the name of the country. $20 billion to another country, and then he let our farmers go take a fly. He let our farmers die, their roots die on the vine. He bought beef from Argentina. There it is, Argentina. Instead of helping our farmers. The very people who thought they were electing a fighter for the working American farmers and families, they're the ones who are catching the hail. Higher prices, economic instability, division, chaos, while wealthy insiders continue doing just fine. I did you do know I did a stream the other day about the insider trading, that every time Donald Trump is about to make an announcement, people make bets in the stock market. They make bets 2 or 3 days in the stock market, and then he makes the announcement and they get rich. You have seen my other video like that, right? Donald Trump makes an announcement, or he's going to make an announcement on Wednesday. Rich people start making bets on the stock market on Monday. He makes the announcement on Wednesday and these people get rich. That's called insider trading. That's what he's doing for his rich friends. That's what he's doing. It's been proven. It's a fact. We have the institutional decay of this administration. This goes deeper than politics, right? This is institutional decay. The Republican Party once prided itself on respecting the courts, military leadership, the Constitution, electoral system, law enforcement. Now these institutions are treated as legitimate only when they serve Trump. Only when they go his way are they loyal, are they legitimate. If a judge rules against him, it's corrupt. If intelligence agencies disagree, they're the deep state. If military officials criticize him, they're traitors. That erosion of trust damages our whole and entire country. And nowhere is this clearer than the Republican Party itself. The party infrastructure is increasingly centered around protecting one man instead of building long-term stability that weakens everybody. So this party is fracturing. Okay. Trump turned the Republican Party into a circular firing squad. Traditional conservatives, libertarians, religious conservatives, corporate Republicans, populists, all being forced to orbit around one man's emotions, his thoughts. This is fundamentally unstable for our country. And history shows movements built entirely around personalities eventually collapse under their own contradictions. Listen to this next video. Here we go. Uno momento. Here we go.
a toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense that will lead the Republican Party to perdition. Donald Trump's candidacy is a cancer on conservatism.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
I will not stop until we fight a man that chooses not to disavow the KKK. That is not a part of our party. That's not who we want as president. We will not allow that in our country.
I think a campaign bears responsibility for creating an environment when the candidate urges supporters to engage in physical violence, to punch people in the face. The predictable consequence of that is that it escalates.
When someone is seeking a position of leadership and is already in a position of influence, you speak responsibly. This notion that a president can just say anything they want, or even a presidential candidate can say anything they want, whatever comes to mind, it's just not true, and it's reckless and it's dangerous. If we reach a point in this country where we can't have a debate about politics without it getting to levels of violence and anger, where people think that just because you're angry, you can say and almost do anything you want, we're going to lose our republic.
You notice all the people that were on there, right? All the people that were running for president, right? And now they're in his cabinet. 2 people are in his cabinet. That shows you the integrity of the Republican Party and how low it has become. In his cabinet. Called their wives ugly. Called them names. They knew what they were saying when they said this is not a person that's worthy of the presidency. They knew that. Republicans warned about Trump's rhetoric and his personality a long time ago. But you got to notice something important. Some of the strongest warnings about Trump come from the Republicans. Not people, not Democrats. We didn't say anything about Trump. It was the Republicans, Republican candidates, people that knew him, were in the same party as him. The strongest warnings about him came from the Republicans. Not the Democrat, Republican. That's because many of them saw the institutional danger of this president early on. But by then, the fear culture inside the party had already taken hold. I'm afraid that he gonna tweet something bad about me. I'm afraid those goofy, wet, MAGA nutty nuts is gonna come to my house and blow my house up. I'm afraid to say something bad about Donald Trump because he got those dangerous followers that'll hurt me. That's what they've been saying behind the scenes. That's what they've been saying in the halls of Congress. They don't want to go against Trump because the MAGA wingnuts will target them. Sure enough, look what happened to Massie. Look what happened to Bill Cassidy. But yet this person is supposed to care about the Republican Party. Don't care about the Republican Party. He cares about what he cares about, and that's Donald Trump. They saw the institutional danger early, and they tried to warn the base. But the base wanted what they wanted. Look where we are now because you wanted what you wanted. The base now, the base of the Republican Party, MAGA, whoever you all are, you're paying the price, and you drug the rest of us with you. And this is the part that honestly makes me fucking mad. I understand why many working class conservatives supported Trump. I get it. You felt abandoned. You felt ignored, humiliated by the elite people, the rich people. You wanted somebody to fight for them. But look around carefully, goddammit. Who is actually benefiting now? Are you, as the working poor, as the working class, are you benefiting? Who's benefiting? Who is actually benefiting the most? The wealthy motherfuckers. And y'all don't get jack shit. I said last year when he passed that big, beautiful bill, I said, hey, y'all, who is benefiting from the big, beautiful bill? What did y'all get out of the big, beautiful bill? you poor motherfuckers, what did y'all get out of the bill? And the first thing you guys are going to say is, we got tax cut. We're going to get more tax cut. What tax cuts when the goddamn gas just went up $1.50, $2? What tax cut money? What tax refund money? Ain't no money coming for you because it never was for you. He did all of this for the rich people. Nothing is related to you. You just along for the ride. Look around. Nobody is benefiting except the wealthy people. The war is benefiting the wealthy people. The stock exchange is benefiting the wealthy people. You poor motherfuckers ain't getting nothing. They ain't doing nothing but laughing. The connected donors, the influencers, the political operatives, the family circle, his family getting rich off of us. Meanwhile, the ordinary people, we got to absorb the stress, the division, the economic uncertainty, the emotional exhaustion, families divided, churches divided, races divided, friendships destroyed. And all of this revolves around one man demanding endless loyalty while giving almost none, not to none of y'all motherfuckers, not to none of you poor people, not at all. No new wars. We in a goddamn war we shouldn't even be in. We got tariffs. Tariffs. What the hell you mean tariffs? You wasn't even supposed to put no tariffs on nobody. Statues, a ballroom. A ballroom he said was going to be paid by rich donors. Now you Republicans in Congress are trying to make us pay for it. Put a bill forth saying the American people are going to pay for the ballroom after you told us it was going to be some rich people to pay for it. All of this revolves around one man demanding endless loyalty while giving us none. The Epstein files. People keep saying, you Democrats want to hear about the Epstein file, bitch made nigga. Your boss, your president is the one who ran on opening up the Epstein file. Are you going to show the Epstein files, Mr. President? Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Now they doing everything they can not to show them Epstein files. Every step along the way has been to help the rich people. Never you poor people. Never. Never. You was never a consideration at all. As soon as you gave him your vote, as soon as you gave him your vote, it was over. He didn't give a damn about the regular, ordinary, individual person once you gave him your vote. He never cared about the ordinary individual people. That's how he ended up destroying your party, because your party is destroyed. It is fractured. Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of your most loyal MAGA people, out of there. Out of there. Nick Fuentes, out of there. Joe Rogan, out of there. Ben Shapiro, I don't know whether he's still doing, what's her name? Candace Owens, out of there. All of these people seen the grift, seen what this president was about, up close and personal, and said, oh, hell no. Even Megyn Kelly can see it with her goofy ass. All of these people see it. We just got that 20-30% out there, the goofy MAGA crowd that still believes that this president gives a damn about them. Because history is going to judge this era. History is going to judge this Trump's presidency very harshly. History is going to ask one brutal goddamn question. Did the Republicans control Trump, or did Trump consume the Republican Party from the inside out? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks less like a conservative movement and more like a cult of personality built around one man's ego. And personality cults always end badly. Always end badly. Always. Because eventually nobody can tell the leader no. That's just like right now. You can tell when you get into White House meeting, when the president has meetings and stuff like that, and it's filmed, the first thing that happens for the first hour is people on their knees for Donald Trump. Oh, President, your leadership is so glorious, it's so amazing, it's so astounding. That's all we hear for a whole fucking hour. A personality cult always ends badly, because eventually nobody can tell the leader, no, Mr. Trump, this is not what's going to happen. We can't do that. We can't go to war. And this president went to war all on his own. All of his political advisors told him no, and yet he decided he was going to follow behind Benjamin Netanyahu and took us to war when nobody wants this war. Nobody can question his strategy. Nobody can challenge his behavior. That eventually collapses under its own weight. So Trump has a cult of personality. Look at the imagery. Watch this. Let me play this clip again. Let me play this last clip.
There are at least 8 Republican candidates in Nevada vying to challenge incumbent Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak in November. Among them, Las Vegas council member Michelle Fiore. She believes that all COVID mandates need to be banned, that teaching factual history in schools is a threat against our children, and that activists who oppose police brutality are domestic terrorists. You know, normal stuff for the Republican Party these days. Even more interesting was her first ad announcing her candidacy. Take a look.
I'm Michelle Fiore, and I'm running for governor. I spent my whole life fighting the establishment. I was the first female majority leader in Nevada Assembly and one of the first elected to endorse Donald J. Trump.
What do you mean endorse Donald J. Trump? What do you mean? The worshiping, the branding, the emotional devotion. What's going on? What's going on? This stopped being about a political platform a long time ago. This ain't about a political platform. This is about people loving Donald Trump. We can't afford what is going on right now. We can't afford it. Donald Trump only cared about Donald Trump. He only cared about Donald Trump. Protecting Donald Trump. Elevating Donald Trump. Enriching Donald Trump, avenging Donald Trump. That's all Donald Trump ever cared about. That's all. The GOP was never a cause. He never cared about the GOP. If you really put your thinking cap on and stop having knee-jerk reactions every time somebody talks about Donald Trump, put your thinking caps on. GOP was never a cause. He didn't care about the GOP. He was an independent. He was a Democrat. He was a Republican. He was all three. He just landed on the Republicans because you guys were easy to manipulate, according to him. It was his vehicle. And one day he will decide to leave politics. But the damage, the division, the fear culture, the fractured institutions, the fractured relationships, the destroyed relationships, those things may remain for decades. And ordinary Americans will pay the price because we're paying the price. We're paying the price now. We're in a war. Our economy is in the tank. Gas high, food high, rent high, everything out of control. People got to move in with their mother and father, sisters and brothers. This is ridiculous. I don't care what it looked like when Biden was president. We never had it this bad. Ordinary Americans will pay this price for electing Donald Trump. Because when the political party stopped revolving around the ideas and started revolving around one person's ego, the entire country became unstable and unsustainable. Many of you Republicans are realizing that far, far too late, that the man they defended so fiercely was never loyal to you all. Loyal to you as far as you were loyal to him. He used the party. He used the movement. He used the base. And now he's setting fire to the bridges behind him while millions of Americans are standing on the goddamn bridges. And now we don't know what to do. I hope somebody comes along and gets us out of this mess. But I do know one thing. It won't be the Republicans that are scared of him. Look what happens when you go against the president. Look what happens when you decide that you've had enough. Look what happens. Even, I think it was this week or last week, Massie voted with the Democrats. Massie, Cassidy, and two other Republicans voted with the Democrats to end the war. They didn't do that before, but now they're doing it. So the president has fractured and destroyed his own party. And people say, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. Because every one of you got a different opinion, and every one of y'all look at him differently. All of the people that are not MAGA, they see the president. They see him. They see what he has done to the party. This is why it's going to be a blue wave. It's going to be a wipeout in November, because most of the American people don't want what this president and the Republican Party has put forward, because they understand this is the wrong way for our country to go. And we need to change direction. And hopefully everybody gets on board with changing that direction. So if you like my commentary, please hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you like my commentary, if you appreciate the content, be back here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I have more content, and my content comes out at 10 o'clock every night. I appreciate you all stopping by. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe, because I have this content Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. and a sprinkle other things in between. But I appreciate you all showing up. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next video.